All right, everybody, let's get started. Good to see everybody here tonight. The regular council meeting for Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022 is called to order at 7 o'clock p.m. Right now, we're going to stand for silent meditation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Mayor Nickerson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Urbom.
Present.
Councilperson Perella.
Here.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Martin.
Present.
Also present for the record, Janice Jacoby, Village Clerk, Christy Alou, Village Manager, and by phone, Joseph Geller, Village Attorney, and the CFO.
Thank you very much. CFO Harry's here. Good to see you, my brother. For next is approval of the agenda. For this right here, I do want to hold off on E1 and E2. Something came up to where they couldn't be here tonight. We want to recognize them in their full form. So I'm going to move that to next month, to March. So I'm going to strike for today E1 and E2, which is recognizing Sannon and Vives as their corporal positions that they've obtained. So with that being said, do I have approval of the agenda? Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice Mayor Urbom. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none, moving on. Good and welfare. Right here, if anybody wants to come up and talk about anything that's on the agenda, you can come up here 3 minutes to do so. I'm seeing nobody right here in the audience. So I'm moving on. Consent agenda. This right here has the minutes in part of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move.
Motion moved by Councilperson Martin, second by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to the agenda items. The first one is H1, pothole street repair. This was here because you guys, we did phase one where we repaired some potholes slash kind of street repair. I want to do like a phase two because in the CITT funds, Madam Manager, we still have.
Yes, we still have a few thousand left in it, but we are it's not enough to do road repair throughout the village. We have to be very judicious with our phase two, whatever that will be. But we have done an assessment of the village, and we have no potholes. I've spoken with members of the council. None have been identified. What has been identified are road resurfacing needs that, if done with those CITT funds, we would use up all of our funds very quickly. We do have some flooding issues we need to address before we start doing road reconstruction or resurfacing on some of those roads. So my recommendation is to not start repairing roads, especially like Northeast 89th and 90th, until we can address the flooding issue. Otherwise, we're just paving over eroded road that will erode in the next 2 years.
Thank you very much, Madam Manager. So that being said, Madam Manager, we should hold off and address the flooding issues first, and then come back and visit this another time when.
Absolutely. We were able to, we did, Councilperson Perella and I did an assessment of some concerns or some complaints from residents. We have some residents who have some, they would like their swales paved. But swales are the responsibility of village residents, not of the village itself. And these are not road reconstruction issues or potholes in the way that we are addressing our potholes with these limited funds. So until we can address that flooding concern on some of these streets, putting money or investing in road reconstruction is ill-advised. And we actually have our engineering contractor here who can attest to, these are matters related to pervious pavement that would not be satisfied with paving over until we can address the flooding.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the pervious pavement next because Northeast 2nd and 89th, I know like right there is terrible. Like when I'm talking about, there's holes that are so deep, it can almost go up to like your knee almost, it feels like. But right there, I know, Madam Manager, we were looking at pervious paving there.
Exactly, but if I may, remember, this is a commercial property, and they're the ones using that easement as a parking. It was, permitted by the village from the previous owner to use it as a parking, but it's something that I don't feel, taxpayers should pay for a commercial property that's taking advantage of a parking. If it's something that has to be addressed with that easement used as a parking, the owners will have to address it. We have to make him, fix it.
Yeah, I hear you, Councilperson Perella. This is coming from CITT funds, though.
Right, this is our surtax CITT funds, yeah.
It's the surtax CITT funds.
But still, that's not enough to fix all the roads that really needs, not easements, but roads that needs to be resurfaced and stuff like that.
And then,
Yeah, no, I understand. I just want to also, you guys, also keep in mind that when we're talking about our business corridors, and like the village manager said, tonight, we shouldn't go forward with any type of street repair or anything like that because we need to take care of flooding first. But when we're talking about our business corridors, understand that those business corridors is going to be the economic, stronghold of the future of the village. So keep that in mind also.
very good.
Okay, keep that in mind also, Vice Mayor Urban.
Additionally, in terms of planning for timing, let's say we did want to do that, that property, right, that swale parking where the significant pothole is, let's say we did want to do that, we still, I think, would want to find out if we're going to get funding, for example, from our efforts in Tallahassee towards the septic to sewer along the Northeast Second Corridor, because if the roads are going to get torn up anyway, then the idea would be to have a plan in place for what to do once the roads are repaired after septic to sewer goes in. And then Councilperson Martin, Chair Martin of Planning and Zoning, I'm going to be sending you an email asking for permission to bring Puserbia for a presentation at the committee in March for an updated kind of concrete idea of a phase one for resilient streets, which would also speak to all of this that we're talking about. Again, kind of putting the plan in place so that we don't have to redo work or do work twice or pay for things twice. So I think we're all kind of on the same page as wanting to get, some of those issues addressed, but I think we're definitely still needing to get some planning done so that we don't do things twice.
Very good, Vice Mayor Urban. Yes, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Let's be clear, because once this gets out, they're gonna say, they said they're gonna do new potholes. Anything that's not, any potholes that on resident sides, the city does not pay for it. Let's be very clear. Everybody understand?
So,
It's on the resident's side. I got it all.
yeah, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward saying like any of the right of way is the responsibility of the resident, is what she's saying.
Well, specifically the swales. So once you're into a swale, whether it's parking or greenery, doesn't matter. Once you're into a swale, it is the responsibility of the property
Right.
owner.
Especially, I know
Right.
there's one resident claiming on her driving approach, actually, to be resurfaced, and that's not part of village roads. Unfortunately, it is the property owner's responsibility.
Well, Mr. Mayor, it may just be an educational thing that we haven't done for years, that we need to let the residents know. Just because they have a pothole on their side doesn't mean that we do potholes. And I didn't want to go past it because I, like my colleague here, got a phone call, very vicious, regarding potholes and why haven't we paved it. And then when I went out and looked, it's because it's not on the public right-of-way. It's in the actual yard. So much said.
Thank you very much. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. So I did want to bring this up, you guys, only because I put this on the agenda so that we can have this discussion out in the open, because all of us get a lot of phone calls about this. And so we only have a certain amount of the CITT funds. It's not like it's something that renews every year.
59,000 to be exact.
Yeah, and it's not something that renews every year. So I did want to bring this out in an open forum and discuss it. And as we're coming out of this, we understand that there is still flood work to be done, which is way more important. Okay. All right, you guys. Any last questions before we move on? All right,
Nope.
Hearing none, let's move on to H2. H2 is a village manager contracted salary and PTO. Right here, you guys, this is part of, what I'm trying to do as far as correcting things from the past and just catching up. I'm just catching up with all of this stuff. There's a lot of administration situations that I'm catching up on. The rest I'll leave for next time, which you'll hear about. But there's a lot of stuff from the past that have just been outdated and just not have been, just not have been taken forth throughout the years, and we've fallen way behind on a lot of things administratively. So this is one of those things, and this is the manager PTO and the manager payments. As far as her salary, if you guys remember last year, we did some of her PTO last year. You guys, the PTO is her personal time off payout.
And if I may, it's just a correction, it was from 2020,
The year
not
prior,
2021.
last year.
Yeah, no, it was from
And so
2020.
there was a half of the payout.
Partial
A
PTO.
partial payout, and there was an increase of 8% at that time. It was November 2020.
Yeah. So this is just here, you guys. If you guys saw the spreadsheet, this is here to get her current, because just for so many years the council fell behind and didn't address this and just let it slide over year after year after year after year. So we have to bring this up and bring this current, and we have to show that El Portal does right by its contracts. I mean, it doesn't make any sense if El Portal doesn't follow the contracts that it gets involved in and follow the contracts that it agrees to in the past. So I just want to bring this current. Any questions or comments from the council? Yes. Councilperson Lightfoot.
First of all, she's an employee. Our manager is an employee. Why she's being held to contracted salary and PTO stuff as opposed to it being part of the budget is very worrisome to me. She's an employee, and a very good one at that. And so this is well worth doing whatever we need to do to bring her up to speed, because I was totally appalled to see that it's called contracted salary when I know that she's a civil servant and a very good one over the past 4 years. So why are we still dealing with contracted salary? Because as you say, you're trying to clean up stuff. I do not expect to see this kind of thing on this agenda after today. I seem to have recalled sitting in the audience and having the same type of discussion again. This is not a contracted city manager. This is an employed city village manager. And I'm with you. Let's clean it up. Let's make it so that whenever she has expenses, it's already written in the budget, and we don't have to be going through this every year. We do a pretty lengthy, I think everybody agrees, we do a pretty lengthy thing with the budget. And to know that this is not part of it really gave me a stomachache, being a former city manager myself.
Very well said, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. I agree wholeheartedly. Any last questions or comments from the council before I ask for a motion?
I will say this to
Yes.
chime in. I also think that when we look at the contract, you have to zoom in on Section 4, which talks about performance. And in our estimation as a council, the city manager has outperformed our expectations. And if you want good employees to stay with you and stay with the city, you have to do right by them when it comes to the perks that come along with the job. So I think your efforts are wholeheartedly supported by the council, and I can definitely say it's supported by me. So
100%. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Councilperson Martin. Thank you very, very much for that. Any last questions or comments before I ask for a motion to make Manager Lou current?
Okay, yeah, I do have a question, because going by the estimate or the projected that we have here in this little format that you guys sent, were you talking about bringing the manager current? You talking about the 115, or going from the last increase of 2020 because you're going way back, even passing whatever was already passed, which it was on 2020, October of 2020, to increase it at 8%, it will have been 91,800. That's from year 2020 and on.
That's from 2018.
No, that was 2020.
2020,
We agreed to go from 85 to 91,800.
820,
was-
if 821, 2020 would have been at 107.
Okay, but forget about what issue have been. We agreed to whatever it was on 2020. We agreed to increase the salary to 8% from 85,000 to 91,000. That passed council.
No,
On
we did
2020.
PTO. We did PTO last
No,
time.
and salary increase.
We
If
did.
you- right?
We did PTO when it was a Zoom meeting, when it was myself, you.
If you look at the October meeting, 2020, October 27th of 2020, that's what the council agreed to increase the salary to 8% from 85,000 to
8%.
91.
Okay.
800. So we should start from there. If you're gonna increase it to 8% for this year,
I
it
dis-
should go from the 91,000.
I disagree. I disagree because you're ignoring all the years where we just bypassed her and didn't do anything. So because we try to catch up 1 year out of 5 years, doesn't mean that we should
Out of 2, I'm sorry, Mayor, out of 3 years from then.
because
Unfortunately, we couldn't do it before, apparently. I wasn't on the council. I just joined the council right when that happened, on March of that very same year. So the discussion was about the salary because it wasn't increased the prior 2 years. So the agreement was to then increase it to 5% plus the cost of living 3%, so it was at 8% from that point on. And it was very clear. So now if we were going back, like overriding what it was done, so I don't know what we're doing here.
Mr. Mayor,
We're
do you have
not-
any,
Go
do you
ahead.
have any
Go ahead.
guidance for me as to what city manager is, what the average salary of a city manager is
There's no
in a
average, I
similarly
guess.
situated city? No, our city manager is grossly underpaid.
I know it
So to the
is.
extent that we might want to keep it at that 91,000, if our city manager does decide to leave and go to another city, which he's well qualified to do,
Right.
and would probably get a tremendous amount more, we'd be losing out on a city manager, and we would be hard pressed to find another person to agree to do this amount of work for 91,000.
I'm not disagreeing.
So
with that.
I'm just saying, when we're thinking about the analysis doesn't only start with, well, what 8% should we give based on whatever number? We need to think about globally, we are underpaying our city manager. We need to do everything that we can to get her up to market rate so we can keep her in the city. I think that's something that's valuable for us to think about.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Martin. I'm in full agreement. Because we corrected 1 year out of all her years, doesn't mean we should ignore the other years.
I see that. I don't agree with that, but you can agree all you want, but I think it was, something was set on that year, moving forward. Then, moving forward, we should recognize, last year's, yes, probably, and this coming year. But to go all the way back to 2018, I think is
And
just not.
Thank you very much, Councilperson
Mhm.
Perrella. I appreciate that. I do want to say for the record that our manager is the lowest paid manager in all of Miami-Dade County.
We also have the lowest budget in the whole Dade County. So, please.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the village manager to bring her current?
I move the item.
Motion moved by Councilperson Martin. Do I have a second? Second by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call, please?
Roll call, Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Perrella.
No.
Vice Mayor Urbom.
Yes.
And Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you very much. Moving on, next agenda item.
Thank you very much.
The resolutions?
Next agenda item is a resolution. The first one is Resolution I-1, Attorney Geller.
Okay, a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, of Miami-Dade County, Florida, maintaining a Title VI non-discrimination policy and plan in accordance with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 for the Village of El Portal, Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much, Attorney Gill. I appreciate it. Is this right here something that you guys that we do annually? It's just, Madam Manager, I don't know if you want to explain it, but it's just something annually about non-discrimination and non-gender discrimination.
Absolutely. This is a resolution related to Title VI, not Title V1, report of the Miami-Dade County Department of Transportation and Public Works. It just certifies that the village continues to not discriminate based on race, religion, gender, national origin. We have posters hanging in the village hall. We also do all orientations related to, EEOC rights. And so to continue the work that we have, the MOUs we have with Miami-Dade County, we have to show that we continue to honor the Title VI requirements of non-discrimination. So this is a yearly request from the county, or requirement from the county.
It's a basic requirement. Do I have any questions or comments from the council before I ask for a motion? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to approve resolution I-1? Motion moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice Mayor Erbaum. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Perella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Erbaum.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1,
Thank you
2-0.
very much. Appreciate that. Yes.
A resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, Miami-Dade County, Florida, approving change order number 1 for El Jardín Stormwater Improvements, CAS project number 17-1970 for the Village of El Portal, Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much, Madam Manager. This is for an outstanding, I believe it's a little over $5,000. We do have Southeastern here. We also have our engineering firm, Craig A. Smith, here. Are there any questions or comments, or does anybody from the council need clarification? Because I'm not going to invite them up just to do a presentation for nothing. But Madam Manager, if you want to take it away.
I'd like to just describe the project. Once the El Jardín Phase 1 stormwater improvement project was completed in January, there was a little residual funding still remaining in the account, in the grant. And we saw fit to utilize those funds for repaving of the roads, to put them back, in fact, to improve them more than what it was. We were to restore the roads, but they were in such dire need of resurfacing that we chose to use those additional funds, the funds that we hadn't expended, to repair those roads. With that, we had to use a little bit of our surtax funds, our road repair funds, to supplement that, to do a change order with Southeastern Construction to repair those roads. They've been paved. They look fantastic. We got the change order and the numbers from Southeastern, but thereafter, maybe a week or two ago, we got a contact that there was additional funds expended. They were not brought to us, to me, or to Craig A. Smith, Associate Senior Engineer Orlando Rubio as project manager, but they were brought after the fact, after the work was done. So they are here to request the additional funding. I stated that it exceeded my spending authority and thought that it'd be best be addressed at the council level, so that he can explain what those funds are needed for. I don't know what they are. I have not seen any documentation from Southeastern about these additional funds, but I would invite them to come and speak about it, please.
Councilperson Perella, Councilperson Perella?
Yeah, no, exactly. So I'm going to know what
So just, if you may say your name and address for the record first.
My personal address?
Yes, your name and your
Yeah.
personal address.
My name is Freddy Vargas. I work for Southeastern Engineering Contractors, and I live in 9581 Fontainebleau Boulevard, apartment 608, Miami, Florida.
Okay, and Freddie, Mr. Vargas, if you can, or if you may, please explain to us that the additional $5,522. Like why did it come up and where does it come from?
Okay, so well, basically, I just want to have clear that our company made a mistake on quoting for that job. So we're just kindly asking for assistance if possible. Having that said, we should have stated the possibility of incurring on additional asphalt to be used as a zero layer or a leveling layer. Underneath the back then proposed asphalt, now installed 2 inches of asphalt. Or the change order was proposed to mill, let's say like take out the back then existing 2 inches, which weren't on the best conditions, let's say, and place a new one. Now, when you cannot guarantee the conditions of an existing road base, you know, where you have no idea, it's good to have like to state that there's a possibility of incurring additional asphalt for leveling before placing the 2 inches of asphalt, and we failed on presenting that to our customer. So having that said, we're just here kindly asking if possible for assistance on covering that additional $5,200 cost, which comes from the about like 2 20-ton trucks and something else of asphalt. I can give the right numbers and submit the right quantities to the engineer for its approval, if approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vargas. Counsel? Yes, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Vargas. That's correct. Well, the thing is that it's also true that we had to notify the engineer's office, but our crew on site took the call in order to guarantee a better outcome for the city, and we just decided to have the road on the best conditions and, you know, just go this route.
I yield.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Anybody else from the council? No?
Yeah,
Yep.
I go. So,
Vice Mayor Arbon?
so I'm not, this is where I certainly don't have expertise. All I have is my own personal experience, right? And my own personal experience is not in this industry. My own personal experience is in hospitality. And I can, throughout my life, I've just been amazed at how many other industries other than hospitality, specifically restaurants for me, not so much hotels, but more restaurants, right? I've been consistently amazed throughout my life at how many industries are able to, I don't know, get subsidized, ask for assistance, say mea culpa, and have everything fixed. You know, the one thing about COVID that was not surprising to me at all was that the hospitality industry was completely hung out to dry, because nobody on this planet has ever valued a hospitality worker. And I can tell you that from 25 years experience starting as a dishwasher in the business. So what my point in all of this is, I'm not sure what the prudent thing to do is, because I am partially exhausted from watching other industries get bailed out for mistakes. Has anybody ever heard of a restaurant get money from the government to keep them afloat Or has everyone said, oh man, you know, I like that place. I'm sorry it's not there anymore. And so personally, I just continue to be astonished at how businesses are able to get bailed out. It's beyond frustrating. And so to me, I mean, I appreciate that the work was done correctly. I appreciate Councilperson Dr. Lightfoot Ward's comments to that effect. I agree with her comments to that effect. I'm glad that that was the decision that was made, even at the risk of not being made whole in that decision, right? And so I certainly weigh that heavily, but I cannot sit in front of this microphone and not bring it to everyone's attention that you know, are you responsible for your business or are you not? And so this might be a little personal for me, which is why my words are probably felt to be a little bit harsh this evening, because way before COVID, when I was what you call a child at age 19, 20, 21, I witnessed this behavior of industries being able to just be saved from decisions. And while you watch anyone who's ever worked in food service just completely be left out in the cold, naked and homeless, really, I mean, if you really analyze the poverty level in this country, you'll find a great many people who exist on that border, 1 foot on poverty and 1 foot outside of poverty, working in the hospitality industry. So again, I say that the one thing about COVID that was not surprising was watching the hospitality industry just get smashed in the face and nobody think twice about it or anything else. So my question, I guess, is really for the council, maybe for the legal representation we have. What is the prudent thing to do, not just historically, but legally possibly? Do we have an obligation to make them whole? Is there any negotiating room in this? Say, you know, we'll offer to get you this far. But I mean, truly personally, sometimes I am truly baffled at the brazenness of businesses to say, "Oops, can you fix it for me?" When I'm just telling you, I've witnessed people put on the street and made homeless overnight, with people who patronize that business, saying nothing more than, "Oh, gee, that place was nice. I'm sorry it's not there anymore." And so, you know, I'm a deeply empathetic person. I want to help everybody. I really do. But at the same time, I come from a business where you sink or you swim. You don't have anybody handing you a parachute or fixing your books for you. You get it right. You do the correct work, and on top of that, I've seen a lot of businesses that way put out of business by landlords, but that's a whole nother situation. But so my question, I guess, is to the council, or perhaps to our legal counsel here tonight. What would be advised that we do? I agree with Dr. Lightfoot Ward's comments. I am also very glad, and I do weigh that heavily, that a correct decision to do the job properly was made. I just would like to know what advice we would have to say, okay, this is how far we should go to make it whole for them.
Did you want Attorney Geller to respond? Yeah.
Repeat the question, please.
Attorney Geller, do we have an obligation to make this company whole for their business decisions? That's as succinctly as I can put it. Do we have any obligation to do this for this company?
I wouldn't. The work that they're asking, as I understand it, is not for the contracted work, it's for extra work. Now, if it's for extra work that wasn't contemplated by the original contract, and we don't want the work done, we should be able to decline unless for some reason they've actually already done the work. Now, if they did the work with our permission, that would be different. But if not, my understanding is this is not an overrun for the work that was contracted for. This is additional work not contemplated in the original contract. That's my understanding.
Excuse me, Councilperson Pereira?
Where's it kind of an override? Yeah, yeah.
This is additional work.
Can you repeat that?
Well, in a way, it's an override because the work was contemplated. I mean, we got a quote. We actually got two quotes. We went with them. It was a little less than the one we used prior, and so it was for the same scope of work. It was just that it needed an extra work that the contractor didn't contemplate.
Let me add a little bit of clarity. No, the original grant was for the stormwater improvement and to restore the road to the way it was
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
But the way the road was before was abysmal. So we had a little extra money. We thought, let's utilize it best for our residents, as opposed to giving it back. So we added to those funds to get this additional work. This was not a part of the original contract. And we have our engineer here, our engineering consultant, Orlando Rubio, who can add a little more engineering expertise to this. But I also want to add, Mr. Harry Taubenfield is here. He's our new CFO. He's not the village attorney, but I asked him to sit up here close and personal to us, so I'll introduce him a bit later. But I know Mr. Geller is here via phone and can address this. So if Mr. Rubio can come forward and maybe speak to the actual engineering aspect of what was anticipated and what was expected of the original grant.
Okay, then while he's on his way, I'll just clarify my question then to say, is this strictly a matter of missing something in the bid? I guess that's what I'm asking. In the original bid of this job, is it simply a matter of missing, oh, we didn't realize that would be a step in the project and we just missed something in the bid? Or is this something that's a little bit different, its own kind of a thing, and beyond that? So,
Can I put an example?
Yeah.
Well, the engineer is gonna talk.
is
I was gonna ask you to
additional-
come up and, because you have more experience of working with contractors and what needed to be done in the road. And to make it clear, my point is, like, there was a supervisor in that project that the contractor was working directly with, and it was Cass, right? And then the village. So they didn't notify none of them to do and go ahead and do whatever they did. I appreciate it. Again, work was gonna.
Right, so,
Go ahead.
I'm Orlando Rubio from Craig A. Smith and Associates, senior engineer for the firm and project manager for the El Jardín Phase 1 improvement projects. So basically, any additional work, whether it be owner directed or for unforeseen conditions, there's a process, and that process starts with, the contractor finding something in the field, contacting us, or the engineer of record, through my field reps. We sit down, we try to figure out a solution, we come back to the owner, hey, this is what we found, this is the solution, this is what it's gonna cost, or it's not gonna cost anything, or whatever. But that process gets approved, it goes to the proper channels, that's in the contract. Again, this is a good outfit. I mean, they've done work for us in the past, so I mean, they understand this. So, like on this job, yes, the asphalt was in pretty bad shape. We had monies left over from the original stormwater grant that we could use for the pavement work. So we added a little, and we had a little bit more of. We needed CITT funds to cover the additional monies for that. We got 3 prices. SEC still had the best price, so we went forward with that with the 2-inch mill and the 2-inch asphalt. My field rep was in the field. He wasn't notified of any additional service that needed to create the quality of product that SEC is claiming. Again, I'm not saying what they're claiming is illegitimate, but he wasn't asked, and I didn't get an RFI, so they you know, if you want to say they proactively did something to cover the warranty of the product, but it didn't go through proper channels. So I can't sit here and tell you to approve something that didn't go through proper channels. It's not, that's why, you know, it has to go around us now, because we couldn't say it needed the work. But, you know, it's just something that it just didn't go through us, so I can't tell you to approve it when, you know, we didn't say it needed it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rubio. Anybody else from the council?
So, in all of this, how much exactly are we talking about here?
$5,522.
Okay. And this coming from now needed from general funds, is that
It
right?
would be coming from there.
Okay, because there was another amount, but we were able to cover that with the existing grant money that would have only been able to be used for this project anyway. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we were able to max out the grant, right?
And add from
Yes.
CITT.
I
yes.
like, I don't know if I like, but I appreciate what you're saying in terms of warranty of the product, right? To make the product meet the standard of what was the expectation, right? So that's what you're saying is the company took proactive, that's what they did proactively, whether it went through the right channels or not. As far as the work itself, they proactively did what was necessary to ensure that the product was up to the standard of what the expectations were. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then we're talking about 5,000 and change coming from the general funds to, now what was the additional amount that came? So the grant was not fully realized. So
It
that's
was
where there's a
20
little bit of money left over. How much was it that?
25. I believe it was 25.
25,000.
Right.
Yeah, 25.
And now there's still an additional 5 and change.
5,000.
So out of 32, I think I saw, right?
31.
31, okay. They were able to at least already to get to 25, is that right? And we're looking for that last 5.5?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you for the clarification.
No
I have
problem.
one question.
Yes, Councilperson Martin.
You made a statement and you said that you couldn't verify that they actually did work that was necessary to warranty the product because your outfit wasn't notified that there was an issue. So we have no real concrete third-party verification that some sort of work was necessary to account for that additional $5,000 outlay.
Right.
correct?
So what we would do with asphalt work, to compare notes, or, you know, we'll get the truck tickets, and they'll give us the tonnage of the asphalt that was brought to the job. And mind you, they gave us, their pricing was based on square yardage, but we have formulas to back calculate, you know, what the total tonnage was or the total square yardage was, you know, back and forth to figure out what was done for that. So we can verify that, but again, we were never told of that until everything was done.
Okay. So I think the fear for me is that we've all heard of businesses where their, business practice is to come in low and then kind of change order of the municipality to death.
Right.
So what I want is some sort of confirmation or comment from you as to whether or not this is the only thing, or will the only thing that needs to be changed or was miscalculated, or whether a month down the road something else would have popped up. How certain are you now that this is the only thing that needs to be changed?
Well, the installation of the asphalt already took place on February 1st. We performed the milling the day before. So because the job is already completed, we're certain that there's
nothing
no
else.
additional cost. And, this is something that when we remove the original layer, that's something that you find out, And
Was there any particular reason why the process that our representative, could you remind me of your last name, please?
Rubio, Orlando
Mr.
Rubio.
Rubio, thank
No
you so
worries.
much. Nice to meet you. Is there any reason that you can articulate as to why the proper procedure that Mr. Rubio outlined wasn't followed by the representative from your company to let us know that there was something that needed to be changed?
no, it's I can say that a decision had to take place back then fast because you have the pressure of your subcontractor, which is something that entails to the contractor. The engineer has done a great job through this project, and between just installing like the 2 inches of asphalt and not having a level road or just doing the right thing, even though we had the chance to take the bullet, which we don't mind because I just want to say that we've been like working since the 80s, like the company, and it's just taking care of the relationships with our customers, you know. So either way, we just felt that the right thing was to do that leveling layer, and whatever the outcome, we don't regret, and we foresee to have a long relationship with the village of El Portal and the engineer's office.
And back to your question, yes, because we too like to, I mean, they've bid on our jobs before and they've been low bidders. And we like to work with contractors that are solution oriented, not change order driven. And I don't think SEC is change order driven. We try to stay away from those outfits. But
Okay, well, that's a good piece of information
Yeah,
to know.
but
I
that's-
appreciate that.
that's
And
how we look at it.
I'd like to add something too about SEC, Southeastern. They stayed on target. They were responsive every time I called, every time a resident had an issue. I mean, they had a lot of issues, and I don't know that everything was resolved, but they would be out there talking with residents and trying to do their best to resolve all issues. So they were responsive, and they were timely, and they got the work done. Never many complaints. I know there have been complaints, but I think that was just based on the we're in COVID times, and material and all the things that come with that play a big part of that. But, they were easy to work with, and, I'm not against them at all, but I just feel like this was we'd already made such a change in terms of just adding the extra. I didn't feel comfortable, and obviously our engineer didn't either, in that we weren't consulted about additional funds, and so that's why it's important to bring that to you all.
Absolutely. I just want to say also for the record that from the very first meeting, Madam Manager and Mr. Ruber, we had with them when we were all here, they were always open, and and they always were receptive to accepting of whatever we said. Even when we would get Madam Manager, you and I get all the phone calls after hours. Even when we get phone calls from the gas line situation that happened, we were getting phone calls late about that, and we had to deal with that type of stuff. But you guys stayed there, on the job, on the site, into the night when we were dealing with a gas line situation and things like that. And you guys didn't leave until everything was done and everything was taken care of. And I do appreciate that. And so for those reasons, your customer service aspect to it, I really do appreciate, throughout this entire project.
So then I would move to meet him halfway and support 2750.
But is that a motion you're making?
It is.
All right, before I ask for a second for that motion, anybody else from the council have anything else they want to say or ask? Any other questions or comments?
Actually, yes. As a matter of fact, there was an issue that I called the manager for, and it's after they left the construction site, actually by fixing on 86, where they were fixing that triangle thing, I noticed that they actually broke some of the border on the south side of the street. Right after they, I guess with the machinery turning it around or something, there's like some pieces missing. They're still there, cracked, all of the and the road on the road, and the easement on the house north of 87, west of Northeast First, where they used to, where they put all the pipes and the equipment and all of that. The grass, they left the grass all dead over there, and that was a nice piece of grass that they had there. So if they need to come back and fix that, then they should do it.
Yeah, we have not done a final walkthrough on the project.
Yeah.
We're still working on getting record drawings from them to review, so to verify what was built was in accordance to our plans. So they're working on that, but once they do that, we'll review that and do a walkthrough on the job and create a punch list of items to do. But thank you for letting us know that.
And on that, I'll say that I noticed there's a house there on the corner of First Court and 87th where they have pavers as a driveway, right? So they've got these pavers, and one of the pavers from the previous roadway was kind of, out in the right of way, right? And actually, it seemed like they took care to not just asphalt over the paver. Actually, driving by, I did notice that somebody who was laying the asphalt on that street did seem to take care and notice that this person, they incorporated the job basically into the driveway so it didn't, look janky or otherwise, just pave over someone else's work that they had done. So I and then, just in general, driving through there, it certainly is pleasant to be driving through there now. So.
Yes, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
So the decision is pay or not to pay. That is the question. And the last few comments have said that they've taken strides to do jobs correctly. I'm with, your name is?
Orlando Rubio.
Orlando, for the sake of processes.
Sure.
I agree. I agree with the sake of processes. But I don't think they were thinking about processes as well as it should have been. This is a lesson learned for sure. But we don't have to be the one to punish. They did something they thought was right. They came back here and said, would you all consider that we didn't just do it just because we did it because it was the right thing to do at that time. And with that, to me, that's the ball that I'm holding. They didn't just walk away from it. They didn't just say, well, we couldn't fix that because it wasn't part of, none of that. They didn't make excuses for it. They made us whole. I would say to you, depending on how we vote, remember processes and procedures from this day forward. But what you did was not wrong. It was just expedient, so that we would not be coming back here trying to decide on $5,200. It's already done. My heart goes out to your company.
Thank you very much.
I'm ready for the vote, sir.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. All right, I also do want to say that, we have a lot of infrastructure things coming up, and we want to keep in mind that we will run across them again, and we'll probably be, working with them again. So let's just keep that in mind, you guys. So that's it from the council. Council, you guys good? No more questions, comments? You guys good? Okay. Anybody from the audience have anything they want to come up and say? No? Okay. We do have a motion. Okay, so we have two choices, you guys. We have the original choice of the $5,522. We have the, we do have a motion from Vice Mayor Urbom, and that motion was for how much? Or do you want to amend it to the full amount?
No, 2750 was the amount, yeah.
Vice Mayor Urbom has a motion for $2,750. Okay, so this is how I can go. I can either get a second for that motion. If I get a second for that motion, we go to a vote. Or if I don't get a second for that motion fails. Now ask for a separate motion. So do I have a second for Vice Mayor Urbom's motion of $2,750?
I think that's fair, and I do second that motion.
Second by Councilperson Perella. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call for $2,750, half of it?
Roll call. Councilperson Martin.
No.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Perella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urbom.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
No.
Motion fails 3-2.
No problem. I love you, Vice Mayor Urbom. Do I have another motion for the full amount of $5,522? Motion moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second? Second by Councilperson Martin. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Perella. Vice Mayor Urbom.
That's fine, yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
4-1. Motion passes.
Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Rubio. Thank you very much, Mr. Lopez. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we're moving on, you guys. The next one is police department computers and printers. So this is police department equipment. I think we need, as soon as you get a chance, Madam Clerk, Attorney Geller needs to read that into the record if he's still there.
You set the precedent.
Resolution I-3.
You set the same precedent. You set the same precedent.
You have a resolution I-3, Geller, police department.
Gonna do it or not gonna do it.
Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, of Miami-Dade County, Florida, providing for the purchase of essential police equipment for the Village of El Portal, of Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. I appreciate that. We do have the chief here, but if you look at, so we had choices for the computers and laptops. The cheaper one is the Dell, and that was the one that's $57,942. Let me just say for the record, this is not taxpayer dollars. Besides this $5,000 we just spent, Madam Manager, we rarely use any taxpayer. I mean, everything we've done pretty much since I've been mayor has been all funding.
Right.
It's been all grants or
Right.
state funding or
Right.
federal funding. We haven't even touched, except for this $5,000 we just spent, we haven't even touched taxpayer dollars. This is another example of funding that was up and the manager went out and got. This will not be touched by taxpayer dollars. We actually have, of this $1.2 million that we got from Washington, D.C., we actually have to spend it or we're going to lose it, Madam Manager.
Absolutely.
So we need to spend this money. This money can only be spent on certain things. This is one of the type of things that it can be spent on, this type of police equipment. The police department, you guys understand, remember they're all getting the new cars, at least that phase one. But they're having problems, and the chief, if he wants to expand on it, he can. But you know, the police department is having problems with doing the actual work because their in-car laptops and printers are so old, most of them don't even work.
Right.
And so that's a huge problem that the police department is going through right now. As I said, you had different quotes here. One was for the Dell laptops was $57. That was the cheapest one. The other one was like $70-something thousand. So I would say let's go for the cheapest one, which is the $57,000, $942. And then there's also the mounting on that. Any questions or comments from the council for the chief as far as better understanding about the laptops or
Yes.
printers or
Mr.
mounting?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
I'm gonna vote for it no matter what it turns out. I just need a little clarity going on here. I looked past all of the numbers and got down to the subtotals, and they all say don't need. Does this say the subtotals not being a number there that they don't need it, or that we can't afford it right now?
As far as the subtotals, or?
No, this last page doesn't show me anything.
You talking about, what do you
Where it stops down there where it says Dell Latitude 73 Rugged. All these numbers, and the next page, they don't have any numbers toward it. So does that tell me that you don't need those things right now?
No, that means that that's included there.
It does?
And if not, it tells you no, like it says,
No
no
mouse,
mouse.
and no, I saw the no
carrying
stuff.
case,
Okay,
So on and so forth.
so you're getting some of this, you're getting this stuff.
We're
You
getting
just-
what we need, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that answers my question, Chief.
And again, this is not taxpayer dollars, you guys. This is through the funding that we have to
No
spend.
problem.
Use it or lose it. Are there any other questions or comments from the council?
Well, my one real only question is, do we have a clear picture of which company is going to provide the best service in terms of warranty fulfillment and things like this?
Yeah.
That's really my biggest question is do we have a clear picture of which of these companies will provide the best service?
And the chief will tell you this. I'm gonna let the chief can jump in if he wants to, but the reason why I was going for the Dell is because even though the other one was more expensive, the Dell warranty was is much better. So it was cheaper and better with the Dell. You know what I mean? So that's another reason why we were going for the Dell. Any other questions or comments from the council?
I just want to make sure I know what I'm voting for. Chief, you just told me, everything below $44,475.28, or everything below here is part of the bid, yes or no?
That's correct,
That it is part of the bid.
correct. That includes the printers and the tough books,
So,
and all the licensing and the service.
okay, so where I see it says no express card, no fingerprint, no carrying case, no resource, it says no.
I didn't find the need for the fingerprint. It's
Okay.
in the card.
All right,
You can have
so
secure
if it's
access to
no,
it through the
it's no.
VPN.
All right, I'm there.
All right.
I'm there. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Vice Mayor Urban?
One other question I had as I was looking at this, will the portable printers, is that gonna open up the possibility of us to do things like speeding tickets?
Well, and in reality, it's a requirement, it's gonna be ultimately, it's gonna be a requirement by the county, where you're gonna have to have that on there. We've just gotten lucky that it hasn't been implemented till now, but yes.
And we do have a speeding plan taking place soon.
Yes.
We just had a great meeting, actually.
Keep it hushed.
Yeah, we
Gotta
can't
catch folks.
we can't tell people when we're doing
It's
the
not the
speeds.
locals we're worried about.
We can't tell people when we're doing the speed trap, but other people will watch us though, Urban. We gotta. It's a surprise
nobody
because
outside
on
the
those
village.
days people will actually drive right. We have to keep it secret. We have to keep it secret, but we are bringing back the speed traps really soon. Okay. All right. If I have no more questions or comments from the council, you guys good? Any more questions or comments? You good? Any questions from the audience? Good. All right. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution I-3, you guys?
You do.
Motion to approve by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice Mayor Urban. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Yes.
Councilperson Perella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urban.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chief. I
Yeah.
appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah.
Chief Mendez is doing a great job, by the way, everybody. Great
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the reports. Madam Manager, you're up first for your report.
Okay, thank you. Well, I want to just take a little bit of my time to share with our new Chief Financial Officer. His name is Harry Taubenfeld. After doing an exhaustive countywide search, or not even countywide, statewide search for a CFO, a qualified CFO, we were graced with Mr. Taubenfeld and made a great relationship. We're still working on the contract, but things are working well, and we're happy with that. I want to give Mr. Taubenfeld just a moment to kind of give you all an update on where he is in the big issue of the audit.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilmen and women. My name is Harry Taubenfeld. First, I'd like to thank the Village Manager for the opportunity, as well as the Mayor and all of you for the opportunity to work with you. As it relates to the audit, I would be happy to report that the audit for the fiscal year 2019 is in full swing again. Since I started in the mid-December until now, I've been communicating with the auditors and trying to find out what needed to get done in order to facilitate it. They put us on, the one thing that was holding us up was them putting us on their calendar, which they were able to do. So the audit actually started last week. The continuation of the audit for fiscal year 2019 began last week. I'm being told, if everything moves smoothly, that the audit should be completed by mid-March. So the goal is to have that completed then. And they've informed us that they want to move right into the fiscal year 2020 audit. They have us on the calendar for May of this year. Don't have a completion date yet, but the target date is to get us started for the fiscal 2020 audit in May of this year. The other thing I wanted to share with the council is the status of the loan with Synovus Bank. Happy to report that the bank is working with us and not defaulting the note. They are patiently waiting for the 2019 audit. They're happy to hear that the audit is now in full swing. They requested a draft financial in order to keep the loan from defaulting, which was provided to them this morning. So unaudited, obviously not completed, but at least it gives them some comfort in knowing that something's being done. In my discussions with the bank today, they did inform me that they're putting a plan in place to work with the village in working with the outstanding balance that's owed to them. I'm not at liberty to say just yet because I did not get confirmation from them as to the route that they want to go, but it appears that they are going to work with the village. They're not here to hurt the village. They understand the situation, and they're going to do everything, I believe, in their power to work with us. So if there's any questions, I'm here to answer them for you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
and thank you. Just look, if you could, just a little bit of background about yourself, and then just out of curiosity, as you got into this process and understanding what was needed, just if you could speak to a little bit about why you chose to take the job and help us out.
Sure. I love a challenge. I do some consulting work for another municipality, and truth be told, similar situation. The municipality was multiple years behind in their audit. Actually, let me back up a little second. I actually came from the private sector, and looked for an opportunity, and became the consultant for another municipality in Broward County. Took on the challenge, similar to what you have here. Happy to report, at least that, got them to the point where they've been able to clean up, their challenges and issues. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I chose this opportunity. I see it as a challenge, one that I've done before, one that I know how to execute, and feel confident that I can get the village, back to respectability and get the credibility back to the village so that we can move forward with no issues.
Thank you. And just to report this evening already on having a timeline for 2019 and even already some manner of schedule for the 2020 is news that we've been waiting for 18 months here. So, yeah. So sincerely, thank you and welcome.
My pleasure. Thank you again.
Thank you, Harry. And just to piggyback on what Mr. Taubenfeld said, I mean, he came to us from another municipality. I mean, he's still working with that municipality as a consultant, but he had great relationships, and people really recommended him and thought he was fantastic. And Synovus Bank even reached out and were like, "Oh, you're working with Harry Taubenfeld? Perfect. He has done great work with other municipalities, and he'll help you with this one." So that excellent reputation and just the follow through with everything, the answered calls, the answered emails, the results that we've been seeing over the last few weeks. I mean, it's been astounding. And so I really appreciate that. And the relationships, again, even with JLAC, reaching out, being proactive and talking to people instead of waiting for them to come find us. So that's been refreshing for us all. And also, we were told by Mr. Taubenfeld that he wants to help us digitize the finance department. Again, any kind of technological advances we can put in place in this village helps us with our service delivery. It would be amazing if we can just get there. So I know once we get through audits, then we're going digital. So that's great. Yeah.
If I may, just to add to the JLAC, because I forgot to mention, I did reach out to JLAC, which is the Joint Legislative County Committee based out of Florida, state of Florida. We did receive notification that there was a possibility of them withholding state funds due to not producing the 2019 audit, but just with communicating them and giving them the timeline for 2019 and 2020, it appears that for now we should be fine and no funds will be withheld from the state of Florida.
That's
Mayor.
really good news to the naysayers.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
The job is not done, but I applaud you for bringing us at least somewhere out of the trenches that we were in. When do you think the finality will come?
My goal, it's hard for me to answer that question. Unfortunately, we're tied to the auditors and their scheduling. So due to the lack of communication with the auditors, actually, thankfully, they put us on their books. That's how we were able to get 19 and the dates for 19 and 20 confirmed. Ideally, next thing we have to worry about is obviously fiscal year 2021. That needs to be, the state deadline for the audits are June 30th of every, the following year. So that is a major point. That would be the next thing to focus on. My goal is to get it done as fast as I possibly can. I'd like to call myself a problem fixer, solver, and I don't mind getting my hands dirty and doing whatever has to be done to get the job done. So as soon as we can get the 2020 at least rolling, I think at that point in time I can communicate with the auditors and start scheduling 2021. And at that point I should have a better answer for you. You're probably looking at, if I had to guess, figure June of 2022, June of this year, before I have any indication as to when the audit for 2021 will start.
Well, you're certain that we will complete the delinquent audits?
I feel confident that 2019 will be done. The deadline that they've imposed on themselves is mid-March. So I would like to say by mid-March, we'd have 2019 complete. 2020, again, they're starting in May. I'm not sure how long it will take them to complete it. Figure 2-3 months, ideally, I think. It should be ample time for them to get it complete. So that would take us into July, August. At that point, I'd like to, get us rolling right away into 2021. I don't know what their calendar and schedule looks like, so I don't have a definitive answer yet, but I could definitely reach out to them and get back to you.
So 18 is completed, is my
18 is
understanding.
completed, yes.
Okay. Shall we wait for next month to see how things are going? I'd like, village manager, I'd like a monthly on how we're doing. I believe in you. You got me already. I'm there. I'm with you.
Okay?
But we need to know that we're caught up, because I'm thinking more of the CAFR than I'm thinking about anything else. You know what the CAFR is.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm thinking more about, and that's not good. My past experience as a city man, that's not good when we can't present a CAFR that makes sense and is publishable to the public. So my hat's off to you. The movement you've given thus far, I commend you.
Thank you.
Bring us up to date as best you can.
Absolutely. My goal is to have it done hopefully within the next 12 months, to have all 3 done within the next 12 months. But if anything changes, I will definitely let you know. But again, it's really contingent on the auditors. But by next month's meeting, I should hopefully have a more definitive answer for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, CFO Taubenfeld. Okay, so I'm going to go right to my report, and I'll just truncate it because I know we're moving fast today. But I want to thank the council and my colleagues, Village Clerk Jacoby and Mr. Geller, for the 2022 legislative session. The mayor and the clerk and the vice mayor and our Public Works Committee Chair, Councilperson Perella, and I traveled to Tallahassee to advocate for the Village of El Portal's needs. We have 3 bills that we are trying to promote, trying to seek funding in areas related to the Village Hall building itself and renovations, to our parks renovation, as well as our Northeast 2nd Avenue business corridor septic to sewer conversion. And though we've got some good traction for 2, the water project is always of issue. We're still going to push for it. The Northeast 2nd Avenue septic to sewer conversion will still push always. That's on our list because that affects our economic development. It affects our infrastructure. I mean, it's key and critical to even our resiliency and sustainability. So we will continue to push for that. But it was a very good, very productive trip. I'm happy that we were able to bond and really, work together as a team, and it was a great meeting. So I thank you all for working with me and Mayor Nickerson and just really advocating for us, all of you. And we got to celebrate the clerk's birthday while we were there. Also this month, Village is pursuing our parks renovation project. Councilperson Perella and I held a kickoff meeting just last week with Craig A. Smith and Associates and subcontractors, Orchid Man, Artisan Landscaping, Comcast, FPL. I mean, we had a full cadre for our parks renovation project here at the Village Hall as a kickoff to just discuss the projects, what we want to see in each of the parks, just as a design, just from a design level, and also from a sustainability level. We really want to make these parks sustainable and usable and something friendly for all villagers. And we rounded out that meeting with an actual village walkthrough. We put some miles on our shoes. I wore down some heels walking, but it was a really productive meeting as a good kickoff. And so our next steps for this parks renovation plan is to have our landscaping architect finalize some plans that will be submitted to the Public Works Committee, and to the village council for approval and review. We're really going to keep a lot of the big footprints that are in the parks presently, but 2 parks need some special care, and those are on the west side. We really want to see something good and productive for our Blueway, Greenway project and the sustainability of our parks. Also, we want to put internet or Wi-Fi in those parks so that residents can utilize them in all levels. So it's a good project. We're excited about what comes next, and you'll hear more from us. We do continue with our transportation circulator pilot project, the shuttle to downtown Miami. I've submitted, in fact, our CFO and I have submitted some quarterly reports and a reimbursement request of FDOT. And of particular concern is us getting enough ridership to sustain the project. So I really encourage our village residents to utilize it. I do have some good news, though. We have, for our January monthly report, we have 54 completed rides with 60 passengers already. So we're excited about that. Keep up the good work, El Fertel. You know, decrease that carbon footprint as best you can. That little trolley goes. I mean, it's amazing. I've been downtown and seeing it. And I'm like, I need to be on that shuttle. And so we've been riding it, and our staff has too. So continue the good work. Utilize it. It's here for a reason. So we want to continue to see that working for us. Mayor Nickerson and I have been meeting with the sanctuary property management team. They are very excited about what's coming next. They were hoping that our septic to sewer conversion project was a little sooner than it's coming to fruition, but because, you know, that also affects their use of the property. But we're going to continue to work with them. I think they're very interested. They want to do what they can to partner with us. So we're going to be meeting with them in the coming week. Actually, we have a few days outlined for the beginning of March where we're going to meet with them to talk about next steps, because they're ready to start putting plans together as to how they're going to utilize and develop the project. We are continuing with the pedestrians first and resiliency and sustainability adaptation area in areas of collaboration with departments from Miami-Dade County, including the economic development and transportation and planning and water and so all of those. We continue to work with them because we really need their guidance, assistance, and whatever funding we can shake loose to bring to the village. We do that. We are just an update on the Skatebird Park. They have a grand opening. I know the mayor will speak about that, but I do want you to know they have a temporary certificate of occupancy, so they're, you know, in business. Again, temporary, you know, certificate of occupancy. It's all contingent upon them getting their kitchen equipment in and pass through inspections, but for now they are able to operate, and so we're excited about their grand opening. We continue to look for viable code enforcement options. We did have a code enforcement officer who started in January and then quit 2 weeks later. So we are in need of a code enforcement officer. He just was not a good fit. He didn't like the village, or it wasn't for him. And we weren't able to replace him immediately, but I've reached out again to a staffing agency. They've given me a proposal. I'm trying to negotiate with them with that proposal. Cap Government is doing a great job with Public Works. I mean, they've given, if you review my manager's report, you'll see they've been hustling with the Public Works and Maintenance Department, but also with the Building Department. They're digitizing. Things are moving very quickly. They continue to work on the transition into digital document maintenance for our resident files, and that's going to be a tremendous assistance to the residents and to the village staff. We do have, I know you may see different faces here, but we always have someone here in the building department, thanks to Cap Government and the contract that you all approved and you know, saw fit to invest in the village in that way, so that we don't have that drop or that lag in service providing. We have gotten, I mean, I don't remember the last time I got a complaint over the last month about the building department, so I'm happy to report that they're very attentive, they're quick, and they're digitizing all while attending to our residents. Again, the freebie shuttle, please drive along, ride along, and look out for a March 2022 movie night here at El Portal at Tot Lot, because there will also be a blood drive. And as all of you know, there's a shortage in plasma, so we really are pushing to get people to donate blood where possible. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna get us out of here. On February 11th, which was a Friday, I attended a meeting and a press conference with Congressman Frederica Wilson. That was good. I'll find her name, Councilperson Martin, but I met one of your friends there who said, it was funny because me and her were going back and forth. I was like, there's no way you can appreciate Councilperson Martin as much as I appreciate. She was like, there's no way you can love her more than me. So we were fighting like that. But she was wonderful, by the way. She's wonderful. She's actually a commissioner. I want to say, I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm not going to say, but I'll let you know next time because I have her card. So that was wonderful. That was a wonderful event. $18 billion for the state of Florida, and we're going to see how much of that comes to El Portal. Me and the manager was talking about that, but that was a good event. The 12th, we had the February Women's Club movie night. I'm going to let Vice Mayor Urban talk about that in a second. The 13th, I attended for the Florida Association for Chinese Americans. It was the Chinese New Year, and I went and I spoke in that event. Of course, you guys know I speak Mandarin, I speak Arabic and stuff. So I spoke Mandarin at that event. So that was a great event that I went to. That was on the 13th, representing El Portal. Myself and the village manager, we had our first meeting, Madam Manager. We had our first meeting, and we're going to be meeting with banks, because I want to start to do things like do like Zoom meetings and stuff like that on like a Saturday morning, things like that, do for financial literacy. Just common general financial literacy. First Bank was the first one that we had a meeting with that reached out to us, so we had a meeting with them. It'll just be like a general type of thing, like a town hall type of thing. They can ask you questions and stuff like that. It's not promoting any bank over another bank, but all the banks are reaching out to us. I said, well, you can offer us free financial literacy, like a town hall, things like that, because everybody needs to know more just about financial literacy. So we have that coming up. Vice Mayor Urban, I'll bring that to your committee. We'll talk about that. We had shout out to Virginia Emmons. There's an organization in El Portal that focuses on STEM education for minority girls, for minority females, and for females as a whole, but actually for focusing on minority females. So that was a great thing that happened recently. Tomorrow, Madam Manager, I speak at University of Miami on behalf of El Portal, talking about infrastructure and resiliency and sustainability. So I speak there as a guest lecturer tomorrow at University of Miami for El Portal, as mayor of El Portal on that. Tomorrow, Madam Manager, you do have your ethics training at 11 o'clock a.m.
That's right, via Zoom. If you want
which
to
is through
attend,
Zoom.
please do.
Which is through Zoom.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but has anybody completed this year's ethic training yet?
I'm good, but I don't know.
So if you can, it might be a good opportunity.
To do what?
If not, for your training.
No. I heard a lot of stuff, but I didn't hear date, time, place.
Tomorrow
nothing.
at 11 a.m.
11 a.m. via Zoom. I sent it out.
There will be other opportunities for you guys, because you guys have to take two. But it was just that this would be a good opportunity if you have the time or if you can attend. This is mainly for the employees. But you are more than welcome to attend, and it will count towards your credits.
When I speak, it's more than stuff. On Thursday, the 24th, you guys, I'm going to be doing with Village Manager Lou. We'll be doing the B305 challenge luncheon, and that's because of the way we've moved forward with our infrastructure this year, and the way we move forward with being resilient and sustainability in our aspects as far as environment goes, and our working for the environment that we've been doing. And so we have that on Thursday morning. We also have County Commissioner Hardiman has a new assistant. We will meet with her at 12:30, and that is also on Thursday, where we'll be meeting with her. We have a meeting with, of course, the mayor of North Bay Village, a couple of individuals from Miami Shores, and sometimes, we might have If so, we might have the Miami Garden. You never know. We might have, Palmetto Bay. So that will be on Friday. That's the meeting we have on Friday. On Saturday, it's a grand opening of the skateboard park. It's a grand opening for all of the residents, for the entire public, as the manager explained on that. And then Saturday evening, myself and I believe the clerk is probably going to go. We have an event, kind of a meeting and event with Hialeah's full commission, Hialeah's mayor and full commission, and we'll probably be attending that Saturday afternoon, Madam Clerk. Vice Mayor Erbaum, just quickly, if you want to just say, because it was a huge turnout for the Women's Club movie night, which took place on the 11th. It was Saturday the 11th.
Yeah, so we think there's two reasons probably why the turnout was so great. One, it was the first movie night since COVID, so it had been a successful event before COVID, and I think people have just been really waiting for it to come back, and here it was. I think the other factor was that they put out the $25, and Sing 2 was the movie. So there was I think they even had another little movie going on before, but then Sing 2 was there. So that was a draw also. But the Women's Club always do a good job. This event was a little bit different because we did have access to the restrooms inside here. As far as I can tell, that went reasonably well, no issues. There certainly is some concern in terms of liability, right? And allowing that, so far so good. Maribel obviously was great in terms of coordination as well. So the Women's Club are excited to continue it in March, and then it's kind of a winter specific because we need the darkness, right, at an early time. So because it will be lighter later, we're not sure about April yet, but March certainly it's going to take place, but everybody certainly was glad to see it again, and we had a huge turnout, so it was great.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Vice Mayor Erbaum, and thank you very much to the Women's Club. Attorney Geller, if you have any reports.
There was some concern at one point about some public records that we were supposed to provide, and we provided them, and they were found to be satisfactory. So we're square on that. That's really all I have to report.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. Appreciate that. Hearing nothing else as far as reports, you guys, any questions or comments about the reports? Everybody good? Good. Hearing no more. Good and welfare. Anybody right now can come up and talk about anything at all. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't have to be only on the agenda. Anything at all. Just come up and say your name and address for the record. Hearing, seeing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice Mayor Erbaum. The regular council meeting for Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022 is adjourned at 8:28 p.m.